match go in, and it's going to be super scrappy off the start. I reckon it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, well, they're ready to rock and roll, so let's check out the maps that they're going to be playing on here in our grand final. Because it is a grand final, we're up to a best of 5. CTF on Bazaar, Slayer Aquarius, and Oddball Recharge are going to be your guaranteed maps. If we can go the distance, we're going to be up to Strongholds, Live Fire, and Slayer on Streets. Now, remember, guys and girls, with our double elimination bracket, Divine Mind, not only do they need to win this best of 5, if they do win, coming from that bracket, they will need to win a second best of 5. NutriBullet, of course, only need to ensure they secure 3 maps right here, right now. Now, Hoots, you called a 3-1, I believe, or a 3-2? Or are you saying that they're going to be dropping a map here? Justin, what do you think the prediction's going to be?
I think we're going to see that no dropping maps run end. I mean, you look at the roulette wheel, that 0-0 0-0-0's got to come up eventually, right? And Divine Mind, they're nice and warmed up. They've got the momentum behind them. The opportunity's there. They just got to make it happen. And I think that we're going to see resurgence from Divine Mind, and that momentum's going to carry them into a bracket reset. Just my humble opinion.
Well, let's hope we can see a reset. I would love to see it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the grand final of HCS ANZ Open number 2. I am incredibly excited. We've got the rematch of the winners bracket final. We do have Divine Mind trying to do what they can up against NutriBullet. Both teams playing with subs. We've got a relatively even playing field. NutriBullet were able to take the victory in the winners bracket final. Let's see what we can do here in the grand final. Hoots, I'll leave it to you to take it away.
Thanks, Josh, and we're jumping straight on with Barcode. Why would you go anyone else? He's making a move in that OS. Unfortunately, runs into 2 Divine Mind players, but manages to get the perfect on Pipz. So we spoke about early, Justin, that one-on-one between Barcode and Pipz, who's going to come out on top. Dropping a perfection on him straight away is not a bad way to start. Keep in mind, we've also got the Rockets here, which are currently in the hands of Divine Mind, I believe. So they've managed to hold down those power weapons to use to try and get a few downs on NutriBullet before making a move into the base. We're already seeing, actually, Justin, BZIIRK pushing into the palm here very quickly and getting right up in the NutriBullet base. So a lot of offense at the start coming in from Divine Mind.
Yeah, and I love the patience from BZIIRK there. I mean, I thought they'd go straight for blood, but he had the overshield and he had Barcode one-shot, but he didn't go down for the challenge. He just held his position and took his time and managed to get that kill and create some pressure from his teammates on the map. You know, no flag movement just yet. They're all just trying to get comfortable, get some control on the map. Now on board with FlexRainZ, the sub for Seduce, but you could be forgiven to thinking that it's actually Seduce playing, because FlexRainZ has really been performing. He's hanging out in the bar here, grabbing himself a drink and some angles at the same time. And look at that, he's just teamed up with a player to hunt down one. Junior putting in some very nice shots, but him going down himself. Nice to get a trade in a 2v1 situation for Junior there, Hoots.
Yeah, absolutely. Divine Mind are down 3 now, though, so NutriBullet are going to look to start to gain some momentum on the map here. We're jumping on board with Rated, so he's coming out of his base, and he's just going to try and at least use this middle part of the base as a neutral point to try and keep the NutriBullet guys from passing across into their bar, onto their side and onto their flag. We've got this overshield popping in about 15 seconds, so still not worth probably worrying about it yet. But we are seeing here Flex starting to push in a little bit on Pipz, really bringing the fight to him. And unfortunately, a trade there, Pipz managing to neutralize that encounter, which is a great result for him. This overshield is popping in a few seconds, and now we're on board with Praties, who has managed to drop. So briefly then, almost, we had NutriBullet all 4 down. So they're going to be coming off the reset on the respawn, and Divine Mind are going to start to get back in front a little bit more as we see Rated starting to push into this NutriBullet bar now, dealing with FlexRainZ, pushing him back. He's going to try and chase the kill down, but actually no, chooses to maintain top control, which is the smart move there, Justin, because sometimes if you have that top control, just pushing someone off and down below is just as good as a win.
Yeah, and Rady, he had that overshield, and you could see that NutriBullet was just like, let's burn him, just whittle him down, whittle him down. We can't let him come in and steamroll us with it. And, you know, Rated wasn't able to utilize that overshield at all. He held good position, but it didn't create any opportunities for his team, and no flags pulled just yet. Now on board with Ali Duran himself, Mr. Light Aim, trying to get some angles. He's got that grapple, trying to escape there with his life, now covering his teammate as his flag is on the move. Hoots, we've got the first flag pull, and BZIIRK really looking for those spawners, trying to help out Junior. Madsy comes in to stop the flag. flag. Junior's shields are flashing, and there he goes. I love that bait and switch, just classic Halo gameplay. And now BZIIRK's got the flag on the move, cleaning up players, finds FlexRainZ. Flex trying to use that thruster to get away, and BZIIRK's hungry. He's hunting him down. Will he be able to get that kill? He does, and he's got full shields as well. He could find a double if he wants it. Double kill on Madsy, and look at this, grappling into the spanker. Get ready, boys, it's paddling time.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that was a fantastic run, and they put the flag into him. Look, take a look at the scoreboard here. They are outslaying them quite considerably. They've got the rockets here as well. BZIIRK clearing out down in this river. He picks up a double kill, and he's moving back in. They're going to go for a second push here. So dealing with FlexRainZ, backing up a little bit. I think he still might have one rocket left in the chamber there, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to push back. Raided's going to duck in underneath, go in for the flag pull, and they're going to work here, taking down Praties. And so they're 3 down now, NutriBullet again. They could start to go for another flag pull.
Yeah, NutriBullet has got to get BZIIRK out of their bar area here. And I say that, I may have just jinxed BZIIRK there a little bit. Junior, he seems to be the camo man, you know, the resonant sneaky, the overshield. He's just grabbing all of those customs on every map, getting those timings down pat. And look at this patience here. He wants to really utilize it, trying to get some shots down. Finds one, but that overshield's all gone, and he's trying to push over to the base here. Shields are really flashing, and Junior not able to do much with that overshield, just like Raided couldn't before. And, a little bit of a fumble. That's not the Junior we're used to seeing. What is going on here? A little bit lost, but he sees those players, he sniffs them out, gets the prediction nades in, putting so much damage. A Hail Mary comes through, and now it's time to get this flag moving, getting that slide down. Another little fumble, up the stairs, and here we go. A flag on the move for Divine Mind. This is fantastic stuff to see. Awesome shots there. Junior just pausing for a moment, finds himself Barcode. Barcode winning that 1v1 is just so strong, such a difficult kill, and both flags are out by the looks of it, Hoots.
Yeah, that was really big from Barcode there, because that flag was going to get capped if he didn't put a stop to it there. So that was a massive move. BZIIRK, he's managing to get dropped, unfortunately. So we're starting to see a bit of a change in momentum here. Maybe earlier on it was just NutriBullet was so focused on getting Divine Mind out of their base that they couldn't even begin to focus on power-ups and rockets. So now they're actually able to get back into this middle area where these power-ups and weapons are spawning. They can start to put them as a part of focus rather than worrying about just clearing out the base. I think when they did go for a pull before NutriBullet, I think it was more just a case of we need to just try and cause a distraction and at least get Divine Mind focused on something not in our base. But just look at these slays across the board. Pipz has put up 8 assists, only 3 kills, but 8 assists there, make that 4 kills now. But they're just completely outslaying NutriBullet Divine Mind. They're only up 1-0, so they do need to try and convert this into some kind of score. Great work using the thruster there by Pipz, though, dropping Madsy. So using those power-ups that we're finding, those abilities, I guess, to his advantage there, which was fantastic work. But yeah, as I was saying, Justin, it's the slaying that really needs to start turning for NutriBullet if they're going to want to be in a position to actually start capping, because right now they're just not slaying enough.
Yeah, you absolutely read my mind. Look at that scoreline. Divine Mind, they're just steamrolling on the kills department right now. And Junior, a little twitchy turret, he's just looking at absolutely everything. He probably had a 6-pack of Red Bulls before this series, and he's just looking at every angle. And here we go, 2 rockets in the spanker for BZIIRK here, and they're setting up for a pull. Shoots down at Madsy's feet, doesn't connect. Does manage to find one, and look at this pressure he's getting on the treehouse area here. Oh, Madsy getting some nice shots on BZIIRK, and Madsy, that's a very critical kill for NutriBullet there, and that might be the key to stopping that flag. But it does look like it's still on the move. Now on board with Madsy, trying to find some angles here. He's just looking for those spawners running through, trying to catch him off guard. And he's like, boys, run that flag. I've got you back here. Madsy, he's, looking at the scoreline right now, he's on 11 kills, so he has cracked that double digit. So it does look like NutriBullet's starting to warm up in the kills department, and flags are going out left and right. Hoots, we've got ourselves a game.
Yeah, here we go. This is where we can see a stalemate sometimes where both flags are out and neither team can score. But it looks like we've got Madsy here running the flag, going through the double doors, taking a few shots, but he should be able to get through safely. As he does, yeah, just gets through. So might be in a position here to cap. You can see he just needs to get that flag return there before he puts it in. You'd hope that one of his teammates actually comes to do that. He's trying to do both, which he ends up doing and puts the flag in. So a 1-all result here now, and that's great work from NutriBullet to be able to convert the lack of slays into actual flag caps. That's impressive, and that's got to be frustrating if you're a Divine Mind player. You're out slaying clearly here, but you're not able to put the conversion on the board, and that's what they need to start doing. And we're back tied 1-all. The game started all over again. We've only got 4 minutes left as well.
Yeah, Madsy really starting to warm up with killing spree medal coming up for him. Junior struggling to stay alive here. Shields are flashing, trying to stay the get out of the angles. FlexRainZ sniffing him out. Double kill for Raided there. Great stuff from him. And the Killjoy to shut down that player. Yeah, all dead. Lots of X's in the kill feed. FlexRainZ, I love that little peek onto BZIIRK there. Gets a couple of shots on and just very cautious play. Barcode sniffing out Pipz there. Double kill for him and he's pulling the flag. This one's on the move. Will we get to see this one put on the board because too weak? Easy shutdown on that. So we'll see that flag just sit there at the moment. Put it on ice. Moved another day. BZIIRK playing out of his mind this game with 16 kills. Just going massive for his team and he sniffed out Praties going, nah, we can't let Ali run rampant. FlexRainZ running that flag. Another little fumble. A lot of fumbles this game, but there's a lot on the line. We're in the grand finals, folks. They got Butterfingers.
Yeah, you would have saw before, you would have thought, you know, BZIIRK stopped the flag, surely they'd get a return there, but he was actually the only player left for Divine Mind. So whilst he could do that, he still had another 3 members from NutriBullet around that flag, able to run it, and that's what we're seeing. Barcode's got it in his hands now. He's actually about to put it in, it looks like. So now we're going to have a 2-1 lead here for NutriBullet. So they're starting to gel now, and take a look at the slays as well that we're seeing here, Justin. They're starting to pick up the slays. I'm not going to try and do the maths quickly on the top of my head, but just from having a quick look there, I think we're about even on the slays now. So it's not just that, it's also the assists. So we've got Pipz racking up big assists for Divine Mind, but apart from that, not a huge amount of assists coming out where everyone... oh, sorry, I was actually looking at the Deathcon. That's completely incorrect. But no, what I am saying is that the kills really picking up for NutriBullet here, and they're starting to convert that into caps, which is something that Divine Mind weren't able to do.
Yeah, and we see that Junior here with the Bulldog sniffing out his prey, putting in loads of bullets on the flag, getting the return done. That dirty work that I was touching on before. Junior just so reliable for it and stops the player challenging him as well. And he goes down. You know, Junior so important during that run, and it allowed them to capitalize and get another point onto the board. Raided watching that push there. Pipz just lurking in the shadows, being a very sneaky little beaver. Raided already on 21 kills, going absolutely massive. I mean, he was talking pre-game, no, post-game of the previous series that he wasn't sure what his Halo future is, and it looks like a lot of kills was in his future, and he's just going massive for his squad. A kill there for Praties. He goes down, and it's just a slugfest right now. So many kills, but we've got 2 flags down. We're at a stalemate, 1 minute, 30 seconds to go, and we're at 2-2, Hoots.
Yeah, but we are seeing a flag pull here. I think it's Flex starting to run it. He's gone for the aggressive pull. Excuse me. He's gone for the aggressive pull straight down bottom mid. And you can see here he's got the cover above him at Rockets as well. So if he can win this duel, and he uses these pillars really well, unfortunately he isn't able to stay alive. But you see his teammate comes in, picks him up, picks up the kill, and they're just going to run this straight through. So this is at a crucial time here with a minute left. If they can get this in, they're just putting it through the NutriBullet. But it looks like they're going to put it in. So Barcode running objective. That's 2 caps for him now. So, you know, we think of him as a slayer, but he's happy to run the objective as well for his team when required. He's put in 18 kills, 10 assists. So he's really putting in a lot of work, a lot of team shot through for his team. And he's going into the bar here to clean up BZIIRK, which he does pretty easily. So at this point, I think, Justin, what do you do? Do you keep going for the back smack as well? But at this point, if you're neutral, what do you do? Do you play pure defense now? Do you say, let's just hold out for 40 seconds? Or do you go for another cap to try and keep this lead growing?
No, you've got to keep that pressure going. You can't take your foot off the gas. We've seen it so many times before. It's like, hey, boys, we've got a lead. Let's just, you know, calm it down a bit. But all you're doing is giving the other team an opportunity to reset and come back. So NutriBullet, they've got to keep that pressure up. Only 20 seconds to go. You know, they're really starting to run away with this one. You know, FlexRainZ is just chilling out on the barrier here, keeping all the other team at bay at the moment. 10 seconds. You know, these players are fast, but I don't think they're going to juggle it across the map in that time. And this looks like it's going to be a win for NutriBullet.
Yeah, you saw, and that will be the win. So well done to NutriBullet to actually come back there. And after that, you know, getting smacked at the beginning, they were able to really turn that around. But you saw a really smart play towards the end there of Barcode, where he just grabbed that grapple shot, and in his mind it was, I'm just going to get across into the other team's base as quickly as possible and cause a distraction, because as long as I'm there, it's going to stop more members of Divine Mind actually crossing over into our base. So he shot himself across there. He distracted 2 players. I think it was Pipz and BZIIRK, I think it was. But that meant that was 2 players who couldn't head over to the NutriBullet base to get that pull. So smart little moves like that, it just go a massive way into determining whether or not you can win a game. So I loved seeing that from him. You know, we're taking a look at the stats here, and across the board, you know, they started to really pick up the slaying there, NutriBullet, which was fantastic. But just look at some of these damage given. You know, we've got Barcode, as you'd expect. You know, top leader in the slays, only by 20 HP against Madsy. So Madsy's doing a lot of work there as well. And then in terms of this Divine Mind squad, we can see there was BZIIRK doing most of the damage for them. Not a huge amount of damage out of Junior, unfortunately. So he was racking up quite a few kills there, 17 kills. So by no means was he the lowest kill scorer, I guess you could call it, on the team, but not putting in as much damage as you tend to think of someone who's such an aggressive player like him.
Yeah, but we did see him do a lot of the dirty work too, and sometimes I talked about it before, he kind of acclimatizes to how his teammates are playing, and you could see Rated and BZIIRK were just going ham. They were monster slayers, and Junior's like, all right, boys, you do you can be in the highlight reel, and I'll get down there, I'll get my hands dirty, I'll dive on the live grenades, I'll dive on the flags to get the returns, and it didn't translate to a win this time, but it was very, very close. And I was saying, is this going to be the time that NutriBullet drops a map? And I mean, they were close. I mean, we're talking that one flag cap there, and even if we see a 3-0 in this series, you're seeing that Divine Mind is really starting to challenge that monstrous NutriBullet squad, Hoots.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? Because, part of me wants to see a really even close series, and so I'm sitting there thinking, they're close, and I feel like Divine Mind's teasing us a little bit. They're showing what they can do for periods of time, but the thing that separates the great teams from the good teams are the teams who can maintain that level throughout an entire game, and it just seems like Divine Mind are able to get to that level and hold it for a while, but then when we get towards the halfway point or something like that, they just start to lose a bit of focus, they lose composure. NutriBullet's able to get a bit of a setup on them and just start to work them over a little bit. So look, it's frustrating in one sense, but they still need to come away and say, look, we only lost that by a cap. We equaled them on the slaying point of view for most of it. So yeah, I think you can still take a lot away from that, and I'm sticking with my prediction from what I said at the start of this series. I do think that we can still see them take a map off NutriBullet, and they've got 2 more games to try and do that at least.
Yeah, still plenty of time for that bracket reset, and Divine Mind's really showing signs of life. I mean, 3-2, that's a tight scoreline. It really came down to that last 30 seconds or so, and Divine Minds, they're starting to put it together. Had so much momentum at the start of that game, and they're showing us that they can do it, and they just need to hold that consistency throughout a series so they can get to that bracket reset. And NutriBullet, they can't relax, that they can't give any opportunities to Divine Mind, because I think it's pretty evident that they can't afford to make mistakes against these guys anymore, Hoots. And we're jumping on board with Praties. Take it away.
Yeah, we are jumping on board with Praties, and we're going to see again, as we always do, this real time where teams feel each other out and try and figure out at what point they can go for a camo. But Junior, and this is what we saw in the last series with Junior, he just loves the camo on this map. So he just says, I'm just going to go straight for it. You can shoot me if you want. Unfortunately, there was only one NutriBullet player actually looking towards top mid at that point. So he was able to grab that getaway. He's got the camo, and now he's starting to get a bit of a flank on coming up behind them. But we do see here that there's actually no one really super close to him apart from Madsy, and great jump there by Junior. He's going to come up and should get the back smacking on Madsy. Unfortunately, isn't close enough, so goes for the shots and will pick up a really nice double. That's great. Turns around, shots on Praties, but he'll back down, keep that camo. He's still got a bit of time with it, so you're better off keeping it active, although it does now start to wear off, and he's going to be copping fire from a fair few angles. Barcode shuts him down, but that's great from Junior. That should be his role here, is to try and maintain this camo control for his team and use it to get flanks and break setups from NutriBullet.
Now on board with Madsy with that hashtag Croc Gang emblem up on the left of your screen there. Nice shots on to Junior there. Finds himself a second. Rated, using a little bit of cover there, going, Madsy, I'm not going to give you that kill just yet. Making it so difficult and kind of baiting a little bit for BZIIRK. And BZIIRK has set Madsy running, tail between his legs. He's out of there, Hoots. But scoreline 11-7 at the moment in favor of NutriBullet. I mean, Divine Mind, they got a bracket reset in mind. They can't afford to let that scoreline blow out anymore. Madsy being very patient here, checking all of his angles, trying to find a player. Rated putting in some suppressing fire, and look at that. Rated's going for the challenge here. He's trying to sniff him out, but there's a lot of players going to be putting pressure on BZIIRK. Responds to the call out and gets that nice kill on there, and it's 11-11. Hoots, we've got ourselves a game.
Yeah, they've taken the lead now, Divine Mind. What's going to be interesting to see is the last series we had Divine Mind against Diewolves. Divine Mind at several points were happy to really slow the pace down. I think we're seeing a little bit of it here. We've seen FlexRainZ, he's obviously in a fight now, but there was a little while where he wasn't really able to see anyone So a Divine Mind confident that if they take the sting out of it and play a bit more passively, that they won't just get overrun by NutriBullet. NutriBullet has Barcode on their team, obviously, who's such an aggressive player. Will he just look at that and say, no, we're not slowing down here. We're going to keep going. As we see here, Pipz managing to put a camo in. So that's 2 camos in a row for Divine Mind. NutriBullet haven't been able to get their hands on one yet, as Pipz is starting to move into the base here, where we do have Madsy. So he's going to combine that thruster, but as a camo guy, probably won't choose to use it. So he's just hanging low here. And again, very passive play here. Puts a few shots in and he just knows, once you get the 2-shot jump on an opponent, you're always going to get the kill there if you're close enough to hit him with a melee. So he's using this camo really well, flying around. Barcode top mid taken down. So this is really solid here. And we've seen Divine Mind manage to maintain this lead of 2 kills here. And that's been great control of camo from Pipz. When you have camo, you're not just there to be sneaky and whack people in the back. You've also got that ability to call out for your team. You can be a bit of a scout almost and be getting into areas where you can see where their enemies are and call them out for your team so they can move in and finish those kills.
Yeah, and Pipz giving us a clinic on how to utilize that camo killing spree for him. Always under a lot of pressure there. Grabs Praties. Praties, going for the challenge. One shot himself, thinking that he'd get Pipz when he's on a hot streak. And look at that. Pipz got his old baby, old Yeller, the heat wave, and he moves it into that vertical position here. We'll have to see if he can have a repeat of that 28 kill performance he had a couple of series ago. And a scoreline is completely even right now. Pipz is fully loaded. He's just been to the car dealership and ticked all the option boxes because he's got that thrust, he's got the heat waves. There's Flex in a little bit of trouble, and easy clean up on that play. And Pipz, he's just playing out of his mind this series, and we said we were looking to him to shut down players like Barcode, and he seems to be playing that role perfectly, Hoots.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'm going to try and give the heat wave another go once I get back on the game tonight. I'm seeing these guys do it and thinking they're making it look easy. But that was great work by Pipz. Yeah, they want the heat wave in the hands of him whenever they can. I think he's been really great with it the last 2 series we've seen him play. But we're seeing again a very even game here. We're at that getting close to that 30 kill mark that we speak about, Justin. That's when you start paying attention to how this score might unfold. And Divine Mind are hanging in there, 28, 27. But across the board here, we are seeing Pipz as the lead slayer. I think that's what we came to expect. Likewise, we're seeing Barcode on for NutriBullet. So both on 11 kills. So both of these two really slaying beasts are doing what they do best for their team. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this actually pans out if they can maintain this lead. Unfortunately, Barcode might want to make sure that he's not grenading himself to try and stay alive. But this lead is still being maintained by Divine Mind. So this is good. Maybe they're able to finally brush a bit few of the cobwebs out and maintain this focus for a full game, which is what we want to see.
Yeah, and look at that. Divine Mind in the lead. I mean, it's only 2 kills, but, scoreboard's a scoreboard. 3 kills the difference now. On board with Junior. He's back on the Divine Mind squad, and he's hungry. Junior, he takes everything seriously. He's so laser focused in scrims, and it's starting to pay off right now for him, putting so much damage down on the map. And it looks like the collapse from Divine Mind's coming in. FlexRainZ the first one to fall. Junior pausing a moment, looking for the angles there, and I love that collapse there. Just a classic. Get your picks, move in, and overpower the remaining players and turn around for the spawners. Great stuff to see. Junior on 10 kills right now with 6 assists. Strong showing from him. And look at that. The scoreline's really starting to bloat out. Ooh. Junior with that killing spree, and they've got a 6-kill lead. Divine Minds, they're starting to align the star suits.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got another camo coming up very shortly, so it's going to be a case of who can just grab this final one. It's probably going to be the last one we'll see given the score, but Divine Mind now with this 6-kill lead. Camo is just popping now, and we are seeing Flex make a move for us. So this is the first camo I believe that NutriBullet's got this game, so this is massive, and Flex, they're putting it in, and they've actually been able to bring this now back to a 3-kill gap. Flex taking shots with camo, but this could be huge. If he can get behind Junior up here and the rest of the squad, get a couple of back smacks or even just start to drop some shields, you can see Barcode just come in and start to pick people off. So this is going to be massive. We've only got a 2-kill gap now. This is getting a little bit too close for comfort. I'm sticking with my prediction, but we'll see how we go.
And look at that, dropping that heat wave for Flex with that camo there. Loving that feature. And mate, this scoreline's a little bit close for comfort for me. My heart's starting to pound. Get the paramedics on standby with that defibrillator. And look at that. The eagle eyes from the other players, the spot out Flex. He's stuck here. He had the camo, he had the heat wave, and he just hasn't been able to utilize it. And the game is slowed right down. And look at that first player to fall. Oh, it's even. Oh, finding Pipz, easy kill onto him. There's so many red X's there, and only 1 point the difference at the moment. NutriBullet with that 1 kill lead. Are we going to see the upset from Divine Minds, or is NutriBullet going to hold on by the skin of their teeth?
Oh, I don't know. They've definitely got the momentum the last couple of kills because they were down by 6 not too long ago, and now they're up by 1. So, yeah, this has been massive. And that camo, he was able to at least get that and keep it out of the hands of Divine Mind, and they weren't able to do what they've done with it the last 2 times they've had it. So, unfortunately, misses that jump, but he's going to come in with the heat wave there on Junior, take him down. We've got a very close game now. Divine Mind's actually managed to take the lead back, up by 2 now. This is massive. There's 2 down for NutriBullet. They're pushed back. Divine Mind's starting to push in a little bit here, and we're on board with Praties. He's just laying down nades. Are we going to see the pace taken out of this again? We didn't think we'd see another camo, but only 15 seconds left. 5 kills for NutriBullet, 3 for Divine Mind. I reckon we're going to see the pace taken out and 1 more camo come in, and this camo, Justin, is probably going to decide the result of this game.
Mate, I am too old for this. My pacemaker is malfunctioning. Only 2 kills. 1 kill the difference at the moment. It is really starting to heat up. Pip finding 1, 49 to 48. Divine Mind, they're only 1 kill away from stopping that no dropping mat streak for NutriBullet, and Pip's desperately trying to stay alive. Still 49-48. Divine Mind's, you know, forgive me if I sound biased, but I love an underdog story. Pip's going in, my boy, trying to find FlexRainZ. He's there. Will he get the back whack? Victory for Divine Minds. The streak is over for NutriBullet. We've got ourselves a series, Hoots. I am so stoked.
That's what we wanted. That is what we wanted. Yeah, that's the first game they've lost in when you take last weekend and this weekend combined. So they've lost a game, and you know this is an unfamiliar feeling for them. So what does that actually mean for them now when they are sitting in the post-game lobby, sort of you know, critiquing what's happened, where things went wrong? How's your mindset now? Because when you're only used to winning, when you start to lose, it can throw a few spanners in the works. But this is great. This is what we wanted to see. We're now 1-1 in the series, and we're just taking a look at the stats here. And look, it was Barcode for NutriBullet putting in 18 kills, which is just absolutely massive, but some really even contributions across the board from Divine Mind, which was great. And look at the assists there. That's probably the big thing. BZIIRK with 11, rated with 12. No one going double digits in assists for NutriBullet. So it was the team shot that was the 1 kill difference there, which is just massive for Divine Mind. And so seeing that team shot's coming in, that bodes really well for the rest of the series. And then you look at the damage across the board. You know, Barcode, as you'd expect, putting in 5,500 damage, which is far and away the most on his team. But again, a pretty even contribution when we're looking at the Divine Mind squad. You know, most in the 4,000s and then just 1 in the 3,000s. So that was, I think, the antithesis of just a fantastic team performance from Divine Mind there. And you know, looking at the highlights here, it was that camo that made such a difference. You did see when NutriBullet were able to get one of the camos that they were able to bring that lead right in and tie it up almost. So that camo control has just been huge, and we saw it with Divine Mind in the last series. It was Junior who was controlling it, but Pipz did a great job with his camo in hand as well when combined with that heat wave. And I think, yeah, if you went back and said, where did we lose it potentially here for NutriBullet? It was maybe if we just had 1 more camo, we could have eked out another 1 or 2 kills.
I couldn't agree more, but I think one thing that needs to be said, it wasn't necessarily NutriBullet playing poorly, it's just Divine Mind was playing to their full ability. We've seen glimpses of it, but now they're here to play. I mean, this is what we wanted. We know that the Divine Minds lineup had the potential to challenge NutriBullet, and they're finally ready to challenge. You know, it's like Star Wars, you know. Luke Skywalker wasn't ready to challenge Vader in episode 5, but come Return of the Jedi, he was ready to go, and that's what we're seeing from Divine Minds.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're 1-1 in the series now. It's exactly what we wanted. We've got a game on our hands. Obviously, Divine Mind have to go a lot further to win this tournament. You know, they have to not only reset the bracket and win this best of 5, but then they have to go and win a second best of 5, given that they lost the first series against NutriBullet earlier in the day. So they've got a lot of work to do, and if they want to go all the distance, you know, you're looking at playing a minimum of eight games in this series. So there's a lot of work to go, but you know, they've tied it 1-1, and we're back on an even ledger, and we go again, which is fantastic for us. It's what we want to see.
And go again we shall, and it'll be interesting to see where that momentum carries, because a close scoreline like that, you can really see your motivation in your headspace crumble when you're like, boys, like, we just narrowly lost that. That's what's going on, and maybe there's a little bit of bickering there. and that could be key for Divine Mind going forward, because I can guarantee you that there was some pop-offs out of the chairs and, let's go's getting screamed, crackling up on the mics and everything from those guys. So they're going to have all the momentum. And I think this next game going in, it's all going to be about how NutriBullet is going to respond. Are they going to crumble, or are they just going to keep playing the way they were playing? Because they only narrowly lost that, and it was just because Divine Mind was so strong that it slipped out of their fingers.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in the Divine Mind, or one of the Divine Mind's rooms where they're playing right now, just to hear those comms and stuff after a game like that. I mean, they're the ones that you just love watching in tournaments, and when you can hear like live voices and things like that. So that's something we'll be able to get to back when we're finally on land, which we're all looking forward to. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The adrenaline rush that they'd be feeling now, saying, hey, come on, we can do this. Like we almost got them in the last series in the 2 games we played. Yeah, the Bazaar CTF at the start of this series was close. They got 1 cap and ended up beating us with a minute to go. But we can hang with them. And so do they look at it now to say, hey, we're actually on an even keel here, and every game's a flip of the coin. So if luck goes our way, then we can convert more of these games into wins and go out to a second series and then go to that series and win. It's just, the door's now wide open, and it's great for them. And yeah, obviously we have mentioned that both these teams are using subs, but from our point of view as the viewers, that's great, because we've seen a few wild cards be put in now where teams are having to make a few changes to address, a difference in lineup. And yeah, we as the viewers, we end up being the winners, which is fantastic.
Yeah, just a little insight into the Divine Minds guys as well. A player like Ali, if you've ever watched his streams or been in a listen-in or things like that, he's a really passionate guy, and he really lifts up his other teammates. Like if they're doing something well, he's almost more excited about it than the player that's performing. And we could be seeing that that's exactly what's happening. I mean, Rated coming in, I mean, he's technically a sub, but he's just performing so incredibly well that Ali, he's gassing up. He's just been to the petrol station, he's loaded up the jerry can, and he's just pumping his boys up.
Oh, I hope he's not paying too much with what petrol prices are costing right now. But we moved
to it's brutal. Brutal.
That's a conversation for another day. But
I'm gonna buy myself a Tesla.
Exactly. We moved now to Oddball Recharge, and this was a series that we did see, in the last series, and it was a lot closer than you'd typically think. And what was interesting was it seemed like NutriBullet were happy to control the ball up in the gold, but when given the choice between the two, and whenever the ball was reset, they would by default take it to blue. So is blue where they do like to hold it when given when they have the choice of the two? That's what I'm going to be really interested to see in this. And then when they do get there in blue, how do Divine Mind come in and break that setup? That's what's going to be really interesting. So we're kicking off here, and I think we may have had a player who's dropped. So what we might have to do is just wait for this other player to come back in before we get started, but that's all good. But yeah, as I was saying before, Justin, it's the choice of where you set up and when you choose to rotate that ball and move. Obviously when you're in a setup and you're a man or two down, that's when in that blue area you have that advantage of being able to play ball, of tossing the ball off into the water, and we then wait a little bit of time and it resets and we can go and pick it up again. But holding it up in gold, the one risk you have there is if you do get overrun, then the other team who's come in and overrun you can set up there and start to hold and really get a big chunk of time. So it's that difficult period where you have to weigh up the two options. And I think it was just interesting to see that NutriBullet in the previous series, it was the blue area where they wanted to hold it and maintain there, because then it's on their terms of when the ball stays there or they toss it off.
And I have someone tapping on my shoulder, and word on the street is my boy Josh wants to jump in, which was fantastic because it's been such a just awesome series, and I want to hear, the old fossil chime in with some of his wisdom. Gandalf, take it away.
Yeah, well, I'm just getting dusted off here, rising from the ground. But I just wanted to chime in to actually say that, Hoots, I see that your prediction was correct there, and we thought that we might see a map loss, and of course it was just there in that Slayer, and I guess we would have picked it that if it was going to be a 1, that might have been it, but it seems to have been an interesting game so far. And look, did you expect that it was going to be that mapping game type particularly, Hoots? You seem to have the I was just called Gandalf. I think that might be you being able to make the prediction.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw the CTF game where they were getting outslayed, NutriBullet. So you'd think if you move to a Slayer, and we've spoken before that when that distraction of objectives goes away, then that can just lead to teams to completely change, and they could have been outslayed in an objective but can turn it around. But we just saw that at the very start in particular of that first CTF game that Divine Mind were outslaying so considerably. Like, it was actually, I was quite shocked to see it at a level that high. So look, I'm not going to talk myself up, but as a student of the game, I was very happy to see that prediction come true.
Yeah, well, I think it was really, really good as well. But look, we are going to be getting into this map now. We just had to remake the lobby. Justin, I'm keen on your thoughts as well and where you see this series might be going now that we've finally got one under the belt for the Divine Mind squad.
Well, it's difficult because we had that little bit of a pause, and, you know, has that taken the wind out of the sails of the Divine Mind guys? They would have been riding a high, and we'll have to see if they can ride that momentum or if it's slowed down for them. On board with Pipz right now, and he's been a very high-performing player for his squad, putting so much damage down onto Barcode, trying to get that camo. He slaps that onto his chest, and he's gone invisible ninja mode right now, and we've really seen Pipz being able to utilize this camo, Hoots, and being able to get plenty of kills and really create opportunities for his team. He does go down, unfortunately, now on board with Barcode. He's got that Mangler, Hoots. What a wonderful gun that one is.
Yeah, that's one where you want to get right up close. It's effectively like, you know, harking back to the Halo 2 days, it's like just having a BXR in your back pocket in reverse. So you just land that first shot and then a melee half a second later and they're done. So he's obviously expecting to get a little bit up close and personal. He's not going to pull it out. He'll just take out Rated with the BR. Rated's just basically a sitting duck jumping up in the air there. But no one opting for the ball yet, as we've always spoken about, sounding like a broken record. They're just waiting for setups here, and then we see all of a sudden NutriBullet picking up that ball and bringing it up here. Flex he was dropped shields but managed to get straight up with the ball, and they're going to go for this gold setup initially off the bat, which is you know, I expected them to go blue, but they've opted for gold, obviously, although the ball has fallen back down. So I think Flex may have actually accidentally dropped that out, and it's gone out there. So the ball's now even for anyone to take. Pipz with that sword, they're starting to push through this long haul, and they're going to look at making a play for this ball. And I'm going to be really interested to see, Justin, where they choose to take it. Junior picking up, where are they going to go? It looks like they're starting to hold the NutriBullet players off coming from blue, and maybe they're going to go for a hold in the gold room.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think that was a fumble from Flex. I think he was going, hey, we've got a couple of kills down in the kill feed. The Barcode's weak, I'm weak, I'm going to throw it out into the open. I can't play it. And he just didn't want to allow the other team to be able to set up. And it's worked. It looks like it's worked perfectly if that was his big brain play. No, neither team racking up a lot of points off of that one. Now on board with Barcode, jumping down on that fresh camo. It's popped. Didn't pop it straight away, does use it now, making sure that he doesn't get burnt on that one. Now we'll have to see. This camo going to be critical for breaking this setup, and he's just going to be sneaking in. I can see the player outlines there. BZIIRK getting some time for his squad. All two there. Will Barcode back up. He's desperately trying to stay alive, and look at that.
That's
BZIIRK
big.
and Junior, just that teamwork. They go, you know, here's the camo play. We've got to get rid of him right now, and they just pounce on him, dropping that ball to take out the camo player, Hoots.
Yeah, that's smart. If you can hit them with a nade and push them back at that point, as you said, and we saw Junior, he just pushed in so hard because you've just got to get that camo guy out. You can't allow him to go back, get his shields back, and then go for another sneaky play in to try and disrupt your setup. So that's great to see from Junior there, and working together with, I'm not sure who it actually was that he was working with, but to just take Barcode out of the equation, because you know, a camo is dangerous enough in the hands of anyone, but a camo in the hands of Barcode is something that would probably be keeping a lot of players up at night. So to take that away from him is a great result. And look, across the board here, Slay's relatively even, and ball time pretty even as well. So we are seeing, as all the games have been, some really even momentum swings throughout, and no team really has been able to get a large chunk of ball time here, as we see NutriBullet starting to take that up to that A stronghold area, and it's just going to be interesting to see, are they going to hang out there, or are they going to try and move it to blue? It looks like they're going to start to try and make a push now through to this blue area. So this is what we were speaking about earlier, a slight fumble from Madsy, unfortunately, but is he going to pick up this ball and bring it to this blue? I think the fumble's actually going to cause him to not be able to even get close to it, and instead Divine Mind are going to have a bit of a position now to pick it up. We're jumping on board with Rated. He's just hanging out in this top 8, waiting for his teammates to come, but we're seeing, as you see, Barcode always seems to have a grapple hook on him, coming in, trying to shut him down, which he will. So unfortunately, it just wasn't on the cards for Divine Mind then to be able to get us set up with this ball, and NutriBullet instead continue on their merry way. They're going to pick up camo now. Barcode's waiting with the grapple shot. He'll just grab that, yoink, pop it in, and they're looking like they're going to go for a blue setup, and Barcode with this camo is going to go a long way in helping them try and maintain that.
Yeah, I love that utilization, and you could just see what he was setting up for. It was like, I know what you're doing, Barcode. And look at that, the sword's over there as well. Style points, finds himself one. Will he be able to break this setup here? And he's taking his time here, trying to find a position. Doesn't want to run out and waste that. Double kills there if he wants it. Easy double for someone with camo and sword. And he's looking for that third. He's hungry, but it does look like the ball was played. You know, the momentum of getting sliced in half by that sword just threw the ball off the map. And look at this, Barcode find himself another back smack for the killing spree, putting some nades down into the turbine area, trying to find all of those angles. And he's opting to take that sword up into the top red area there, and you are just so deadly in here in the vents. Watch out.
Yep.
And oh, looks like he's out of charge. Unfortunate for him. Will he get the kill anyway? BZIIRK, and almost getting embarrassed there, but managing to hold on. That PP not connecting on Madsy, but does look like he's pretty weak. Pipz responding to those callouts there and getting the cleanup nade. It's unbelievable teamwork from Divine Minds.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Barcode choosing to go through the orange and the gold vents then made perfect sense with the sword, because there's no point running out straight through the turbine there. Even though it's the most direct route, that sword becomes pretty much useless. Players can see you from a mile away sprinting at them with it, and they can just keep running backwards and put shots in you. So really smart move there to actually choose the vents, and unfortunately just probably didn't realize he was running low on sword energy, but almost managed to get the double. But we're seeing now ball back in the hands of Divine Mind. So they're now keeping NutriBullet back closer towards this blue area, although we do see Madsy in the corner of our screen starting to push over through the gold. He's engaging BZIIRK and Junior taken down here. So Madsy, I think, traded there, but it looks like Divine Mind are going to have a bit of time now to get a bit of ball. There's still 2 men down though, so as we see there, you spoke about it before, Justin, that instead of, it's effectively like a play ball when you are chucking it down into that open area. It's where the ball spawns, and it just makes it a lot harder for anyone to go and get a run at it. A few teammate nades coming in there for Praties, unfortunately having to eat one there. I think that was from Madsy being thrown at him. But this ball now is just going to sit for a while these teams get set up. And look, there's only 14 seconds in it. Divine Mind's got, you know, as good a chance as any to be able to pick up here and get a bit of ball time and really bring this back to a pretty neutral scoreline. But we already almost are at that, only being 14 seconds in between.
Yeah, both teams waiting for the opportunity to get a couple of picks before they're grabbing that ball. Neither one wanting to jump the gun and be, you know, baited by that ball. They've got to get the kills so they can get set up. And really, there's only one rotation of ball time between them right now. On board with Rated, he goes in, and look at that, premature. He gets taken out by Madsy. Opportunity for NutriBullet to get some time here, and look at that. The timer ran out, and that's first round going towards NutriBullet.
I always forget to look at the timer in oddball games. I'm just so focused on the actual timers on either side of the scoreboard.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, Hoots.
Exactly.
You know, can't do everything. We're only human.
And also, only playing these 5-minute rounds is different to, you know, the oddball we're used to playing, where, you know, we're going for a lot longer. So it's something we need to obviously keep our minds on. But yeah, that's one win for NutriBullet. It was a bit of a passive game there. We just didn't see either team get to the score limit. So clearly the ball was just in neutral territory for a long time. Players fighting over it, but we got Rated here, and he's going to look to bring it up gold. He's juggling it and managing to get a bit of a setup here. So all players are up on the map right now, and it looks like NutriBullet are actually starting to move towards the blue area as Rated decided to carry the ball that way. So it might have been a little bit of miscommunication there. I probably would have opted to hold gold there, but it looks like the ball's going to sit neutral again. And, you know, they're able to get a bit of time at the start. Divine Mind, they've got a camo now in the hands of Junior as per normal. So this camo along with ball in hand for Divine Mind, this is a good combo here. And obviously Junior's going to make that call out of Madsy coming down the long hole. He's dropped. You see the assist pop up there. So a bit of time now building, but you see across the side of the map there, NutriBullet on that blue side where the ball's heading. It just seems like Divine Mind is bringing it over to them. Whether or not that's where they do want to hold the ball for themselves, I'm not sure. But you know, if you do have the NutriBullet squad there, I wouldn't be trying to forge my way ahead just to get a setup, because it's what you want. If the team's over there, try and stay away from them and rack up ball time while you can, and then move over when you start to get a few of those NutriBullet players down.
And Divine Mind, look at this, Hoots, are just calming down just a little bit. They've got a 28 kill lead so far. I mean, they are down 1 in this game, but they're really starting to wake up here, and you can see each of their moves is a little bit more calculated. Look at both teams setting up for this camo that's going to be popping. That ball just getting rotated all the way through the open, and just so much pressure from each player is keep allowing that ball to be moved around the map. And look at that, they're just, you know, hanging out, you know, mid-map. FlexRainZ, he does get taken down perfect from Barcode, but I expect nothing less from a turret like himself. And look at that, Barcode looking over that camo. He's hungry for it. He wants it for himself. BZIIRK managing to sniff him out while he's putting down shots. Junior flashing shields. That camo, has someone managed to grab it? I'm not sure. Wouldn't be surprised if Junior ends up with that camo regardless. I reckon he's been in the store and just paid, got the credit card out, and that's his default skin, Hoots.
Yeah, it does look like it. Let's chat about Pipz for a second. You know, we spoke about him at the start of this series. He's the leading kill scorer, but also leading ball timer for Divine Mind. So he's doing a bit of everything right now. You know, really, I'm not going to say putting the team on his back, but he's a man on a mission right now. And so we're now seeing NutriBullet set up in this blue again. We've got a sword in the hand of Madsy, so that's going to be able to keep from these 2 entry points here from both A and long haul. He's going to be able to, in close quarters, keep them away with that sword. So that's a really handy pickup to have right here. And then we're seeing a ball in the hand of Barcode. So Barcode's running a bit of objective now. So their main Slayer's hasn't got his gun out. He's sitting there holding ball, and we're just seeing Madsy being really smart here with this sword. He's got it out, he's ready, he's expecting players to potentially spawn from A and come through. It looks like they're actually spawning over on the gold, so they're pushing through long haul. He'll get the call out soon and make his way over there, as we see he does now as players start to get dropped. He's got that sword, he's going to try and have it got raided, but unfortunately he's double teamed, and I think he will probably be dropped here, although he doesn't even manage to get the trade, so that's big for Divine Mind there. That's really unlucky.
That's very unlucky for Madsy there, and you could see he was questioning. He had a good position. He was holding down that flank, and he's going back and forth. You know, do I move? Do I rotate? My boys are in trouble there. And it's like, nah, they'll get the kills. And then he's like, nah, screw it, I'm going over there. And it was just too little, too late, unfortunately. But they did rack up plenty of ball time, squeezing out a little bit more of a closer game. But still, Divine Minds, they're in the lead here, Hoots, and we could see a little bit of a tiebreaker if Divine Minds can keep this momentum up. Pipz now trying to find a player. He spots out Barcode, backs him off. Play there, Junior with that sword, and Pipz now with that camo. We've seen him utilize it perfectly before, and look at this. FlexRainZ opting not to push him down there, or not FlexRainZ, another player from NutriBullet there.
I think it was Praties.
Yeah, Praties, he didn't go after him. I mean, I think that's such a critical kill, and will we see that come back and bite them and Divine Minds get some ball time off that, Hoots? It could be.
Yeah, we'll see. It's, again, no one really wants to go for this. So we got Junior coming in with the sword here. That Flex is gone, and then he'll push up a little bit closer. Barcode's coming in, and can he get the sword? No, he wasn't really ready for it. So sword in the hand of Barcode, copying a few friendly nades. That's what was indicated by that blue hit marker there, is when you're copying damage from a teammate. But we do have ball now in the hands of NutriBullet. I think, was there a toss up there, up to the top? I think there might have been. So Barcode's just going to hold this down here. He's got the commander, unfortunately, and no sword energy, so he's kind of stuck there and tries to just run the ball as far away as possible. But they're still set up on this top gold area here, so NutriBullet can go and grab that ball and start to get a little bit more time here. As they are now. So they're starting to now bring it back. We've got a minute and a half left. They're 10 seconds down and counting. So ball dropped briefly, it looks like. Ball back in the hand now. So they're going to probably take the lead here, although Pipz coming in with that Mangler double. Grabs the triple as well and the trade.
Pipz, so, my boy.
Yeah, so that's massive here. So we should see now, hopefully, Divine might be in a position to get the ball. Although looking at the map here, it looks like NutriBullet's just going to storm back in and at least have a chance of grabbing it. Although Divine Mind here, 2-on-1, great use of the commando there from Madsy. He's dropped, but Junior picking up the ball. And at this point now, you sort of have to start to weigh up the whole thing of, when we pick up the ball, yes, we're getting time, but we're not letting the timer count down as well in the middle there. So when we hold ball, game clock actually pauses. So there's times where you have to consider, do we actually just try and keep other players off the ball and let the timer go down in the round end, or do we actually try and keep going to get to that score limit? It's a tricky thing that we haven't really had to worry about, but it's something that teams need to consider now in Infinite.
Yeah, it's a fantastic point that you brought up, and look at that. The scoreline is completely even pretty much, and less than a minute on the clock to go. Really, it's one, maybe two setups left, and look at that. Junior utilizing that camo perfectly, finds the double kill perfect on the FlexRainZ, stopping the other team from getting any ball time. And look at this, BZIIRK is just gonna go yoink, I'll take that, with 30 seconds to go, and Divine Minds racking up loads of points here. You know, is this gonna be the setup that's going to give Divine Minds the win? We'll have to see. 30 seconds left. 30-second warning, boys. Pencils down soon. And look at this. Raiders find himself the sword. It's been so powerful so far in this game. And look at that. The NutriBullet boys, all three of them pouncing on that ball. They're getting really eager to make sure that they don't lose this game. They're like, boys, we can put this away now. But Divine Mind's just playing so well. And I love the way that Raided is playing right now. Wow. And only 20 points of a lead on Divine Mind, but there's not enough time. Like, NutriBullet, they've got one more opportunity, Hoots, and if they don't capitalize on it, then they're in trouble.
Yeah, but like we were saying before, if this is the real dilemma. If you're Divine Mind at this point, I think you're not trying to get ball at all. You're just trying to keep them off and let that timer get down. So what's going to happen now is that they are picking up the ball, they're irking that time forward, but right now I'd just say drop it as they have. So you see they're all around it, but they're not going for ball, and then they let the timer go down, and that's the round. So that's really smart play, and that's what you need to do in Oddball now. It's, again, like it's a completely new feature that's been a part of Oddball now in Infinite, and I think it actually is just so interesting, like the different dynamic it brings to these games. So yeah, that was perfectly played by them of getting to a point where they said, all right, we're good, let's just protect the ball, and now we're one all on the ledger, and the winner of this wins the game.
Or think we have a series on our hands. Hoots and Pipz with that camo again. What a ball hog, but he utilizes it, so just let him have it. Grabs himself the repulsor there, which is a great piece of equipment, a new addition to Halo Infinite. And look at this, he's just trying to move through the map. Not putting in a lot of shots, finds himself Madsy. Really easy cleanup and just perfect use of camo. There's the second, and now it's an opportunity to grab the ball. They've got a couple of picks and he may have camo, but you got to, you know, capitalize on those opportunities brought to you. And look at this, Divine Mind already putting points on the board. Are we going to see another map in their favor, Hoots? I think we might.
Yeah, it was interesting then that even though he only had a few seconds of camo left, he was probably aware, but opting to hold it and say, Junior, you keep slaying. At that point, I'd think just hand it to Junior, and if you've got your camo, go back to work. But you know, it's worked out for them, and they've already put 20 seconds on the board. This is probably the longest and quickest time we've seen a team race out to a fair bit of a lead here. It looks like they're now quite focused on just holding the ball here, although it looks like Pipz is going to now be met by both Praties and using the repulsor there. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, comes close. But now NutriBullet is set up in this gold area. They've got all four, I think, actually up in this gold. So it is quite close quarters, and a few grenades here can really disrupt the setup. But they're actually going to start to run it out there, and they're going down long. But just look how quickly Divine Mind are actually able to swarm up there and disrupt the setup and get NutriBullet on the run. That's one thing that they've done here is NutriBullet seem to be really, as soon as the first sign of danger, they're happy to say, all right, the setup's gone, let's start moving. They're not trying to fight and hold it, which is interesting. I would have thought that it would be a case of, no, let's stay here and fight. But no, they're getting that ball and running it out of there as quickly as possible.
Well, it could just be a matter of, you know, rather than holding that setup, they don't want to give it up, right? You know, they get collapsed on, and then suddenly they're trying to break up the setup themselves. Maybe that's what they're thinking, or maybe they're just like, boys, let's just get out of there. I'm scared. But the scoreline basically even at the moment. On board with BZIIRK, he's racked up 5 kills so far, but Slays seem to be pretty even. But you know what? Speaking of Slays, look at Barcode and Madsy. A breadstick each. I mean, they're prepared for brunch. Just need some avocado now, and they better watch out when Barcode and Madsy wake up, because they are just such monstrous slayers. And maybe that's what we're going to see. We're going to see those guys warm up, and it's going to be key to victory for NutriBullet. But look at this, Divine Mind on the scoreline. They're just starting to eke out a little bit of a lead here. And, you know, those points, they rack up so fast, Hoots. You know, it's not like a traditional oddball where games can sometimes feel like they go forever. The points in the rounds just rack up so quickly that you've really got to be paying attention, and you can't let teams go on big runs because it just racks up so quickly.
No, not at all. But if I'm Divine Mind and they can't see really, well, they can see the score actually, but if you're looking at that and you're thinking, oh, hey, Barcode's the second highest objective earner for their team right now. If I'm Divine Mind, I'm happy with that. I'm happy for him to be holding the ball and not putting shots out. So if that's a situation they're in, I'd look at that as Divine Mind and say that's a win. Like Barcode's, we're outslaying them enough that Barcode's being forced to play objective occasionally and just rack up ball time when he can. And that's one, you know, that's Barcode not putting shots in. So we are seeing now he's turning away from the objective and he's starting to roll around, and this is what he does. He just pretty much puts the helmet on and just starts sprinting around and just laying shots where, you know, I think, Justin, if you or I ran at these angles, we'd end up getting dropped straight away, but he's just able to stay out pretty exposed most of the time and put shots in, knowing that his teammates have his back. And we've seen now NutriBullet have started to go out to a bit of a lead as Madsy's now racking up time. He's put a really big chunk into ball time now, actually. a considerable amount. This has happened, as you said before, Justin, super fast. They've come out of nowhere.
Yeah, you know, Divine Minds, they were in the lead just before, and NutriBullet, a nice tasty setup. Little back whack from Junior there. He's getting called out though, trying desperately to stay alive. He does fall. Now on board with BZIIRK, putting some nice shots on the FlexRainZ. Well, FlexRainZ fallen over his feet there a little bit, didn't have his shoelaces tied. And look at that, the ball is primed, ready to go. But all players are about to come off the spawn. Maybe not time to grab that ball just yet. Wait for another pick. But look at this BZIIRK. He's feeling hungry, going for those slays. He's getting a little bit of pressure himself, but no, a bit of ghost shots there. It's like, where did those shots come from? Now he's sniffing out Barcode, but he gets taken out by Madsy. That Mangler there putting some shots down. Pipz utilizing weapons on the map. That's something he does so well, Hoots, is that you'll never see Pipz just utilizing that default BR. He's always got something else in his back pocket, and that's why he's such an interesting player to watch, and really shakes up the dynamic of how the game goes. And he's a star player for his squad, and look at that. One more kill for him, pulls out that Mangler, trying to, doesn't, a bit of a Casper melee there, a bit of a ghost melee, and now on board with Rated. 3 dead for NutriBullet. Madsy just coming off spawn, and the scoreline, it's starting to bloat out. Divine Minds, they need to do something soon, Hoots.
Yeah, but they're pretty set now, I think, to get a bit of a setup here. They've collapsed in on this ball really well, and if they can just hold off Madsy here, that should be a time now where they can grab this ball and get a bit of a setup. I think, was that camo down below on the ground there that maybe Rated didn't pick? I'm not sure, although they are 2 down now, Divine Mind, but as were NutriBullet, that being said. So they're able to now rack up a bit of time. They're putting ball in there, you know, they're coming up to about just 20 seconds down, and the ball here is in a pretty good control, and we're just seeing, you know, Barcode running around, not really aware of where Divine Mind's dropping. And that's the beauty of this A area here, is that you can go from one level to another super quickly by dropping at this big open sort of bay here, as we're seeing now. It's perfectly executed. And this is huge. You know, again, another massive chunk of ball time. You've got here Rated, who's covering across from the turbine. He's dropped, unfortunately. So this is now a time where Pipz, who has the ball, should be trying to get out of there and make the move. And you can see here, that's exactly what he does. He's ready. He knows he's about to get dropped. He does, and it goes down into neutral territory. And Praties has to go and get pretty exposed to pick it up, and he's dropped. So that's perfectly executed from Divine Mind there.
Hoots, very well said. Now on board with Junior, he manages to find himself one. Scoreline is so tight now. A minute left on the clock, and that dynamic that you're talking about the last round, it's really a matter of, you know, boys, do we run out the clock or do we try and scrap together some ball time? Junior shutting down that sword player, that is such an important kill. Like, you can't let that sword player get away, and Junior really putting in so much damage. Another assist racking up on his stat line. And look at that Divine Mind there, eking it out. 91 points, not far off 100. Has NutriBullet got enough time to break this setup? It doesn't look like they do. And look at that. Divine Minds takes another game off NutriBullet. They're here to play. Prediction coming true.
Wow, yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure I said they'd get 1 game. I didn't say 2. So
no, I was talking about me, not to be smug.
Sorry. Yeah. Wow, 2-1. Did we think that would happen? They're a game away from resetting the bracket. I don't know. Did they watch a bit of NA during the week and say, "How good's a bracket reset? Let's give it for the ANZ audience." This is fantastic. Yeah, I honestly don't know what to say. Like, let's just have a look at the stats here and look at Praties, man. Like 41 kills, just massive, putting up massive numbers. Pipz as well, though, for his team, 40, and Junior actually 44. Huge slays across the board. You know, in terms of slays, actually, it was quite an even performance, but it was just a case of just the time when they could get ball chunks. Divine Mind was just in really critical points of the game, and then damage dealt. I mean, it's Junior and Barcode for both sides. You know, 12,000 damage when you have these oddball games that are going down to, you know, almost full rounds every single time. You're going to get these big kills and damage numbers. But yeah, Junior was great then, and we saw again, and we say it a lot, but it was that camo control from Divine Mind. It was the same as in that Aquarius Slayer that just really helped them maintain control here. And you just couldn't say more about their communication and the way they moved the ball at the right times. And it seemed like that A setup at the end there, which wasn't really used much throughout the game, that really worked wonders for them towards the end.
Yeah, and I'm tongue-tied at the moment, Hoots. It's like, it was my prediction that we'd see the bracket reset, but seeing it unfold in real life is just, got me lost for words. We're seeing some of the highlights here, and Divine Minds, they're really showing up to play, and we knew that they had it in them. They had it in them. They just had to get things rolling, and look at this, NutriBullet, maybe are they getting caught off guard? Are they not playing to their fullest ability? Or is it just Divine Mind firing on all 4 cylinders?
Yeah, I think that the Junior and Pipz in particular, we're just seeing taking control of games in spurts, and when one is maybe cooling a little bit, the other steps up. Those two are complementing each other really, really well, and they were it was just fantastic across the board. And so, I don't know really what we can expect going into this next game. And NutriBullet, like we said at the end of the last game, were NutriBullet pretty shell-shocked from finally having a loss, and they're, mentally are they a bit fragile now, and are they maybe starting to bicker a little bit amongst themselves? I'm not sure. We don't have a line into them. But this has got to be a worry for them now. They're actually, for the first time, facing down the idea of losing a series and then doing a bracket reset and having to do another best of 5. Keep in mind, through all the rounds up to this point, they've been playing best of 3, so they can get these series done pretty quickly and move on. But a best of 5, that can be a slog, especially if you start splitting games here and there, and instead of needing just 3 to win, you're going to 4 or 5, like we're doing now, moving on to Strongholds live fire. So both of these games here have been, well, they've all been super close. That's the thing, and it's that flip of the coin we spoke about earlier. You really couldn't predict where this is going to go, but for both of them now, it's NutriBullet knows now this has to go to a 5-game series if they want to win, whereas Divine Mind now can say we can close this out here and now on Strongholds and avoid that Slayer Streets.
You're talking about some nerves there, and on the side of NutriBullets, but I'm going to have to go the other way, and the nerves on Divine Mind, like, they're going, boys, we can get this reset, and, are their, knees are weak and arms are heavy? Are they going to be able to close it out? And I think we're going to be able to see it. This seems so composed in these games, Hoots, and keep going on about it. They've got it in them to take away the victory, and they are so close to this bracket reset. They're going to be, virtual fist bumps all around, and we're on Strongholds live fire, a fantastic map, and they're going to have to rotate around the map and maintain as much control as they can. And we're on boards with a BZIIRK here. Hoots, take us away, mate.
I've jumped onto Barcode now, and this is a map that I think will really favour him in terms of Strongholds, where you have to move around a lot. You see great LPR there at the very start. He's going to make a move on this sniper. Unfortunately dropped, but Barcode, this is a map where he can run around a lot, because in these Strongholds games, you need to have a lot of movement throughout the map as you're moving from point to point trying to capture. And so I think that's a style of play which really does suit him. I think he's the kind of beast who doesn't want to be shackled to a certain location for a setup, so when he can move around, that's when he can do his best work. But we see off the break here, it looks like NutriBullet maintaining 2 points now, so they're starting to get a bit of a score. And as we know in Strongholds, you need to maintain 2 points to start scoring. If you get that 3rd point, then you start to score a lot quicker. So we see here NutriBullet scoring quickly at the start, putting up a bit of a score, and Barcode, we're actually on board with Madsy, sorry, 2 kills at the start, which is good, taking down Pipz, and then he's just going to push through very aggressively actually with this thruster pack, pushing through with no shields, and chasing Divine Mind, trying to get another pick here. Unfortunately can't, but starting now to get a capture on this B point and get the score back in their favour.
Yeah, NutriBullet with an early lead there. 2 points captured right now. Divine Minds finishing off that C point. Madsy putting so much damage across the map here, sniffing out the 3rd player. BZIIRK's lurking down below, or gets a little surprise on there, only getting the assist. So the call-out's coming through and the team shots getting the clean up. And NutriBullets, they're off to a very strong start so far. Raider goes in, challenging Madsy, shutting him down. But look at this, Strongholds gone over in the favour of NutriBullet, and we've got ourselves a triple cap. Could be premature, could be very short-lived, and look at that, Divine Minds there responding. You can see that B Stronghold down the bottom, it's kind of 1/3 of the way capped so far. FlexRainZ trying to find himself some players, and there's that camo, it's popped. Whoever wins this fight, and it's a trade. I was going to say whoever wins the fight gets the camo, but they've traded, and look at this. Madsy is just going to cherry pick that one, pop it in his mouth, and now he's the sneaky sneakiest man alive. He's in the A hill and very aggressive. Oh, sorry, the overshield, not the camo. That's why he's being aggressive. Finds himself one. sorry about that one, folks, but he does get sniffed out. And Madsy just so aggressive on that A stronghold. And, you know, when you've got a pretty healthy lead, you can afford to be aggressive and keep that pressure up, Hoots.
Yeah, absolutely. And Divine Mind now starting to score, so get a bit of score on the board again, and they're going to start to move into this B point to try and secure it, because Flex is in there starting to cap. And that B one's a tricky one because it's very covered in a lot of areas. And so you can hide down in that little, I don't know what you call it, that little alleyway. But they're able to actually hold them off you. So Divine Mind keeping the score ticking over, which is good. Although that being said, yeah, they actually are. Every time it looks like NutriBullet are trying to get a bit of a cap on a stronghold, they're able to hold them off. So they're doing a good job of finding the areas they need to move to and focus on clearing out the players and then just holding those 2 points. I don't know, Justin, I'm interested in your thoughts, but do you commit pre-strongholds to an idea of, okay, we're just going to completely ignore C, for example, and only focus on A and B? Or is it a game where you just have to be constantly changing your setups and where your points of focus are?
Yeah, with strongholds, sometimes you've just got to give them up. You know, you can throw bodies at a stronghold one after another and never get anything. And sometimes it's just like, hey, boys, leave that one. Let them have it. Let us get a head start on the rotation and reposition ourselves on the map, and we'll be ready for them when they have it. It's almost like baiting that stronghold. Let them have it, and then we're going to take map control while you're busy capping that off. And we have Barcode here with that sniper rifle using the repulsor, the jumper. Flashy plays from him. Love to see a highlight reel. Look at that. 3 NutriBullet players there, capitalizing on that push and not able to connect with the headshots there. But, you know, Barcode, he's obviously gone for clips. I mean, I hope they're going up on TikTok because he's going to go viral at some point.
Hey, to the TikTok gang out there. We've actually got full control now in the hands of Divine Mind, so watch that scorer there start to really rack up, as we are seeing. They've managed to really to start to bridge the gap a little bit that was between them. But look, just as quickly as that happens, you can spread yourself really thin and get that 3-point cap for a little bit, but then look at the flip straight away. NutriBullet have 2 caps back, and they're almost at a position where they're going for 3. But we actually have a bit of a standoff on a few sites now. And that can happen in this game type occasionally, where there is just all-out chaos and points are half captured and other points are, but NutriBullet now back scoring, holding down the B and C, and we're seeing on board now with Barcode. He is just perfecting everyone he looks at, it seems, whenever we turn to him. But look at the slays again across the board at NutriBullet. We've got 3 guys in double digits now, and some strong assists coming through as well. Even with Praties, who's only on 5, he's got 6. So we got some meleeing of the ground by Barcode. Not sure what the point of that is exactly, but I think he was probably going for the teabag at some point. But they are starting to bring this lead out a little bit more again. So Divine Mind were coming in a little bit, but now NutriBullet have locked these 2 points down, and as long as they're locking 2 points down, they're scoring.
Yeah, I think Barcode just asserting his dominance a little bit. And you're just like, this is my map, don't you forget it. And they're really starting to rack up some points here. NutriBullet, they've just hopped on 2 points and doubling the scoreline. Killing spree for Barcode, so he's really racking up quite a lot of kills and holding down all those objective points as well. On board with Junior right now, very intelligent and experienced player, being very patient here. They're not jumping on anything just yet. Maybe trying to make sure that next sniper rifle that's popping up, that communicating, going, boys, this new snipe's coming up, 10 seconds, we can't afford to let them have it, let's get set up. But as I say, that Divine Mind's opting to get 2 caps here. Yeah, they can't let NutriBullet get any more points onto the board. It's a fragile situation from them, and Junior using that repulsor to move around the map, finds himself FlexRainZ, can't get the finish. And I say that just as he's diving for cover there, he gets the headshot, and Junior able to utilize that C point and start racking up some points for his team. Finds himself Praties putting some shots down on him. FlexRainZ wants some too. Fresh mag into the BR. He's putting so many shots down on the map. And look at this, Junior repositioning, deciding to take a different route because he was sniffed out. And look at that, FlexRainZ didn't predict it at all. He had no idea where he was going. But yeah, Junior doing a little bit of a spring jump with that repulsor there, making himself a sitting duck there, Hoots.
I love the use of the repulsor, of how you can just get from one area to another area super quickly. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for Junior there, but he definitely had the right idea of trying to just make a quick escape of, just launching himself out of there. But look, we're jumping on now with Praties and NutriBullet 3 caps, so they're holding everything down. They're scoring quickly. We've got a heat wave in the hands of Praties. Haven't seen the heat wave much on this map so far in this game. but it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with it. But look, Divine might need to start capping points because look at this score just ticking up super quick by NutriBullet. If they don't do something soon, this can be all over. Even then, they do get one cap to stop the 3-point cap, but as long as they've still got 2 NutriBullet, they're scoring. And you can see here, looks like Divine Mind is starting to put a push onto this A side to try and get the scoring back on their terms, and with Junior pushing in here strongly, it looks like they'll be able to do that. Although, and that being said, they flip it, so that's a good move by them. Start scoring again. Unfortunately, only 50 points needed by NutriBullet, but we have seen some pretty crazy turnarounds in this, where if you can just continuously hold these 2 points, your score it keeps racking up. It doesn't matter if you're killing or not, as long as you're keeping them away from those 2 points, then you will keep scoring. So look, it's going to be hard for them to maintain the momentum here and keep these points and try and bring back a lead and rearrest some of the momentum, but they're doing a good job so far of keeping them out. They've had a pretty good run.
Yeah, Junior utilizing that heat wave there to stop the A hill. He was so patient. He was like, I'm not going to rush over there. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to catch the player by surprise. And it did work out for them. And Divine Mind's really starting to rack up some points. A temporary triple cap there. And it's 100 points the difference. But I mean, as you were saying, that scoreline just stops for NutriBullet, and Divine Minds, they're starting to wake up a little bit here on board with Rated. He finds himself one, gets him cleared out, gets a reset on the C hill, or it does look like NutriBullet is responding a little bit, putting a lot of pressure on that B hill. Rated sniffing out a play. Can't seem to connect on that final bullet. That's got to be frustrating. Shields flashing. He's now having the duck dive and cover for himself. He does get naded out, unfortunately. And Junior, fresh mag into his BR, trying to really hugging those corners and those walls to sneak around the map as much as he can, looking for those players. Look at that, switching targets. Junior just trying to do everything at once, and he's really in trouble there, trying to stay alive and milk as much time as he can. And NutriBullet, they're starting to rack up points again. Divine Mind in a little bit of trouble here, Hoots.
Yeah, they've gone pretty much 25 seconds uncontested now, and it looks like just almost got repulsed off the map there, but it looks like they're starting to close this out. Unfortunately, one of the things you got to remember is when you do start capping a point here, you're just telling the enemy team that, hey, there's someone here, and they know to go and hunt you down. So that's one of the struggles as well of this game, is that choosing the right time to cap can be very hard, but obviously, disgusting.
Oh, baby! FlexRainZ, flexing on us there,
up for the triple. No, thank you, and almost connects there for the third, but he's doing a great job here of just holding this B side down, and they were able to just put a really big amount of score then on NutriBullet. Only 13 points off now, and it's starting to seem inevitable that we're going to see a result here, I think, Justin.
Yeah, NutriBullet, they can just scrap together a few points. They don't really need to set up. They do need to be cautious, not to be careless about their pushes and utilizing their lives. But the thing is that they can just scrap and work down that timer. The Divine Minds, they're hanging on by a thread right now, skin of their teeth. They are racking up points right now. And look at this, Barcode going in for blood, finds himself 1 seconds there if he wants it, putting so much pressure on Rated. Rated just like, I've got to stay alive, I've got to stay alive. But Barcode capping that hill, manages to get C, and look at that, NutriBullet could be a triple cap. This could be all she wrote for Divine Mind triple cap. I'm going to call this is it. We're going to a game 5 by the looks of it, Hoots. Unbelievable.
Are we?
Oh! No. Oh.
Yes, we are.
I
thought it was over as well.
I hate being wrong, so I was like, please just tick over.
Yeah, no, I'm the same as you. I was looking then and I was thinking, yep, surely that's done. And then no, just that last second change you can get.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, they needed that, right? They've now brought it back to 2-all on the ledger, and we go into this deciding game where NutriBullet can take the whole thing and walk away as champs, or can Divine Mind actually force a reset? And we move on to Slayer on Streets, and Slayer, the last time we had Slayer on Aquarius, we had that ultra tight, I think it was 49-50 result going to Divine Mind. So who knows what we'll see here, but yeah, the fantastic work to bring back some of that momentum. And man, this Barcode, just look at that, like 29 kills, 15 deaths, so positive 14, just going crazy. And when someone's popping off like that, there's not much you can do if you're on the other team.
Yeah, Barcode there just racking up so many kills. He almost doubled the majority of the players on the Divine Mind roster. He's just playing a different game, mate. Like, what's going on? He's got 7 thumbs and 12 fingers with the way he's handling that controller. looking at that. Plenty of multi-kills, 2 perfect kills for Barcode, just doing so much work for his team. I mean, he, almost a 2 KD there, and 12 captures as well. So not afraid to get his hands dirty and get in and do that objective work also. And, I don't think we're hype enough, Hoots. I mean, we're going to a Game 5. We've seen basically clean sweeps throughout the entire tournament, and now we've got the 2 top squads Game 5, and they're both hungry to win. And Divine Mind, I reckon they're sick of losing to these guys, and they're just like, boys, we've got to keep the momentum going. We've got to keep hype. We've got to take these guys out, and I'll match their intensity because everyone loves a Game 5, Hoots.
Yeah, it's always darkest before the dawn, right? We've had clean sweeps the whole way through, and now we finally get a potential reset in the final, which is, we're pretty spoiled, I think. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this Street Slayer game. That's, it's a game type where we've got rockets on there, and some of the we've seen in previous games where you can come down to those final few kills, and it's the rockets that make all the difference. And if you can pick them up, we saw it. I think it was on the Direwolves game a bit earlier, of what a rocket can do at the end in a final push. And Divine Mind like the slow pace, which can lend itself to Streets because it is quite close quarters. There are lots of areas to hide, and it's just going to be interesting to see, do Divine Mind choose to slow the pace down at some point, like we saw in that Aquarius Slayer. One thing we're not going to have is a camo to be able to use by Junior, who really put it to work in the previous Slayer game. So this is no power-ups. We're just 1 power weapon, and the rest is just pretty much your BR and anything else you want to pick up. So yeah, I can't wait to see this. I just want to get this next game started.
Yeah, Hoots, I think you've nailed it. I think that Divine Minds, a key to victory for them is to just play at their own pace. Don't let NutriBullet set the pace of the game. And those power weapons, that rocket launcher, so strong. And Divine Minds just cannot allow NutriBullet to get those power weapons, because then it's going to be all over. And we're just launching into this final map. Game 5, everybody. Let's bring up the volume. Let's bring up the hype. I want to be gasping for air by the end of this game, Hoots, and I'm going to throw it over to you to launch it off. I mean, unbelievable. First Game 5 casting together, mate. Let's go. And let's spell it out for everyone just at home in case you are wondering. The result here is if NutriBullet win, they win the entire tournament for today. If they lose and Divine Mind win this game, then we have a bracket reset and we're going to go to another best of 5 series, and the winner of that wins all. So everything's on the line here for both of these teams. Divine Mind really want to keep this whole tournament alive and push another 5-game series, and NutriBullet want to close it out right here. We're starting off with Madsy, and we're going to see an initial pickup. Looks like rockets have actually been taken super quickly, so he's going to be taken down. Rockets are in the hands of Barcode, as you'd expect, who picks up that first kill, and he's just going to try and hang alive a little bit with these rockets while his shields recharge. He needs to be careful, though, obviously, with friendly fire on. Somehow survives that and picks up the double kill. I don't even know what actually happened there, but look at him just sticking his head out again. He's going to be dropped with those rockets. I think he actually might have used them both up at that point. So Barcode picking up 3 kills off his initial spawn with those rockets. You can't ask for much more than that, Justin. No, and now we're on board with Rated. He's got that bulldog woof woof, boys. He's trying to find some players, does get sniffed out, and he's going to rotate out. I like that he's not sticking around. That is just such a nade magnet, that little corner there, putting in some shots into FlexRainZ, backing him off, instantly switching over to Madsy, putting some shots down on him, and look at that easy kill. I mean, FlexRainZ pretty bold to challenge a little bulldog like that in that corner, close quarters. I wouldn't want to be doing it myself. And look at this, Rated opting to rotate around the map. Oh, narrowly missing the melee and the shot there. Unfortunate for him, trying to stay alive there, and he gets sniffed out and taken down. Scoreline completely even right now, Hoots. And we are going to see Barcode with that Sentinel beam in his back pocket. We'll have to see if he does anything with that. Fresh mag into the BR, trying to find some other players. 1 point the difference. I mean, it's still very early day, Hoots, but I'm feeling this intensity. You can see the way that Barcode's looking around the map. He is fully wide and ready to go.
And what's interesting has been that Well, NutriBullet, Barcode's consistently been the big slayer for NutriBullet in every game pretty much, but Divine Mind, the role seems to change almost every game. We've had Junior's been the lead slayer occasionally. We saw Pipz go off in a few earlier games, but now we've got Rated who's leading here with 4 kills, jumping on board back with Barcode. He's already at 6, so they're now starting to pull away. They've got rockets again, so that's 2 rockets in a row for Barcode. He's taking shots, he's going to get dropped down, but he at least got it over to his team, and I think Praties is going to have rockets in his hands now, and he's pushing now a little bit below, close towards this tram area where Rated is, so Rated's got to be careful that there's going to be rockets hanging around him somewhere, but we are seeing that NutriBullet holding this 4-kill lead, which has been pretty hard fought to get to, but they're starting to roll in packs here as we see going through the alleyway here. Rated just not being able to progress much. He's chasing Barcode, shots on, good finish kill there, having a go at RainZ. RainZ backs up, and now we're seeing Divine Mind start to push into this police department here.
Yeah, I love that collapse from Divine Mind. And it's like, boys, we've got them weak. We've got one down, time to clean house. And such a fragile lead right now. Only 5 kills the difference. And, you know, it's still very early game. You know, you can't really see the story play out. The narrative of a Slay game doesn't really start to form until later on. And Praties putting damage down on that sneaky little angle there. I'll have to utilize that myself. Great stuff from him. And it's slowed down considerably. It was very scrappy. And, you know, we're kind of pausing the action a little bit. And I think that might be due to Divine Minds going, listen, boys, we can't let this bloat out anymore. Let's just take our foot off the gas a little bit and set up and get a pick and then start collapsing on people, Hoots.
I love that you could look at Barcode right now and say, you know, everyone else on your team has assists. Why don't you have any? It's like when you pretty much 4-shotting everyone and just killing everyone single-handedly, it's kind of hard to rack up assists. But he's now on 9 and he's starting to give a few backwhacks and everything, and they are starting to play. I mean, look now, we're at a 10-kill gap. So NutriBullet, they're not messing around anymore. And I don't know, is it the fact that we don't have a camo or a power-up that we've just seen Divine Mind rely on so consistently in a lot of their games to build momentum? When it's just purely down to BRs and occasionally rockets, it looks like that's where NutriBullet have it done. Barcode using that dropper, which people don't use that often, but super advantageous to be able to gain maybe just 1 or 2 shots up, and Barcode's going to start to have a play here. I was going to say for these third rockets, but instead he's a good teammate. He lets Madsy have them, and Madsy's putting in a bit of work with them, racking up a double kill. That's massive, and this is starting to get pretty ugly now. 15-kill lead for NutriBullet. They're looking to close this whole tournament out, Justin.
Mate, Divine Minds have got 1 kill to NutriBullet's like 15, so things are really starting to blow out. You hate to see it, but Madsy being a star player now, he's utilizing both of those rockets to get a double kill, and you know, you can't, we're saying you just can't let these boys have the power weapons because they'll utilize them and they'll start taking the game away from you. And I like this little angle. I hope the Twitch chat's looking at that going, I'm going to utilize that. Barcode on a killing spree, but do we expect nothing less? Game 5 right now, and NutriBullet is starting to run away from it a little bit. I mean, once you get past that 40-point mark, things start looking pretty dire for Divine Mind, and it looks like they are trying to slow things down a little bit, trying to force those picks, get a pick so they can get things going. And look at that, I love that Barcode, he heard that player sneaking below him, gets the trade. BZIIRK doing well to shut down Barcode there, but it is starting to get dire straits. Some Divine Mind, some shots coming in from Rated. Praties getting the better of him there. That's unfortunate for him. 38-18. 20 points to different, Hoots. Divine Minds, they're in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, look, I'm really optimistic this whole series, but this is starting to look hard. I mean, they're looking at getting staked almost. A 20-kill loss could be on the cards here. You know, but look at Matt. We've spoken about Barcode. Take a look at Madsy. 14 kills, 4 deaths, 3 assists. He's just gone crazy as well. He used those rockets before really effectively, we saw. But look, he's just holding all these angles here. Dropping BZIIRK, with, assisting at least with BZIIRK. Pushing out, no shields, peak shotting. They've got a level of confidence now where they can and just pops out, takes out Rated. And he's now in a position to make a move for these rockets, which are popping up in about 10 seconds. And look, I'm going to say if they get rockets, this game's over. And just look at this. It's just all happening for them here. They've turned this on and they're going to take this win away pretty easily.
Yeah, only 2 kills to go. 1 kill to go. NutriBullet about to take out this tournament today. 1 kill to get them over the line. Do they find it? They do. And look at that, NutriBullet. Oh, I reckon they were just putting on a series for us. NutriBullet, it's like, hey boys, the entertainment's over. You know, we showed you a series that's entertaining to watch, but nah, NutriBullet's like, nah, sorry boys, this is our tournament to win, and they're our champions for the day.
We woke the sleeping dragon that was NutriBullet. You know, we thought we were catching them asleep at the sticks, and they brought it back in a huge way. NutriBullet are going to be your victors here in the grand final of HCS ANZ Open number 2. What a series that was. It went to game 5. We didn't get get the reset in the end, but NutriBullet putting on a clinic in the end. 50 to 2022. Geez, I'm looking forward to next year already. 50 to 22. And look, they really put on a show and really established why they are called the best in the region. No one from the opposing team of Divine Mind got into the double-digit kills. Meanwhile, you've got the show-offs of the squad. Barcode and Praties really putting on a real show here. Barcode, I mean, what more can you say about the young gun? Over 4,000 damage here in a Slayer. That's really big numbers for those of you playing at home for a Slayer. Very impressive stuff. And you can see there when we go to the stats, 16 and 6. He even got the 4 assists. Accuracy off the chain. Everything off the chain. Medals across the board. And look, really showing why he's one of the region's best. Don't forget, you've also got Madsy as well there, who went 16 and 5. Absolute beasts on the squad. Hooters, we went through the series. Yourself and Justin took us through. What's your take on this? Because I really think there that I wasn't expecting 2 maps to drop, and when they did, I thought we might get the reset, but just showing how wrong we were in that Slayer. What did you think of it?
I think it's just great. Then what does it bode for the rest of the tournaments that we have? Because, you know, we've obviously got the roadmap with multiple events, both LAN and online, coming up. And I think this is just great to see that, you know, that it's not a foregone conclusion that NutriBullet is going to clean sweep everyone. You know, it was fantastic effort for them to come back and everything, obviously. But to see them push to a game 5, you know, and we've spoken before about, yes, you know, it's not their full roster, but likewise, it's not for Divine Mind either. So I think this just bodes really well for strong competition, which, you know, only makes it better for us casting and the viewers watching and people attending events when we can finally be running them. It's just great to have this level of competition.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm really looking forward to those events as well, Hoots. And Justin, from your side, same kind of question. Like, we got to the game 5. As soon as we got there, I'll be honest, when we hit game 5, I was like, okay, we're seeing a reset. I had it in my mind. This is happening. We know on the previous Slayer that it was taken out by Divine Mind, but then totally the opposite. In fact, it couldn't be further from the truth. 50-22 when we got to Streets. What did you think?